Let me start again. Hi everyone, Ziki Kolil here. I may have accidentally muted myself, which is a classic mistake because I have not been posting this for a year, thanks to the pandemic. But we're way past over that now. But so I like to kick off this reboot of It Matters again on this lovely occasion where we are celebrating World Humanitarian Day, which happens on August 19th. Now, usually we celebrate those who are fighting for just cause, where a lot of people are going through a lot of rough times, wherever you are, whether you're in Yemen, in the Middle East, in Africa. And there are always those heroes or businesses or individuals who starts to create things that really matter for their local community. And they come in many shapes and many souls and many forms. And today, we'd like to celebrate one of those occasions and hopefully to learn a bit more about this person's industry, which is mainly focused on the fashion industry, especially for those who have not known about batik. Unfortunately, I've just learned that I'm not wearing a real batik. I've been wearing something that I guess about 80% of us have them. And I think this is why it's important to have these conversations. And I like to summon and welcome our amazing guest today as we have Amy Blair, who is one of the founder of Batik Boutique. And please don't confuse her. She is not related to Tony Blair, guys. Um, Other than that, we have also fashion enthusiast, singer, part-time actress, but most importantly, an amazing key opinionated leader in the space who's been supporting Amy with Batik Boutique for the long time. Welcome, Atilia, Haron. I think a lot of
Hi.
us. Hi. And last but not least, the one who was supporting Amy all the way from the beginning as well. We have Renuka Sena, the partner, one of the partners from Scale Up Malaysia, and we will learn a little bit more about her later along this conversation. Welcome, girls,
Hi,
ladies.
guys.
Can't really say guys, but
Hello,
hey,
Zikri.
everyone. I'm just gonna go around and just get you, each one of you, to kind of introduce yourself and share a bit more, a bit on why you're here personally, who you are, um, and something short but good enough for the viewers to understand the magnitude of the conversation that we have. So, Amy, would you like to do the honors?
Sure, Zikri. Thanks for having me on this platform. Incitement was also a key partner of ours at Batik Boutique, especially during the pandemic, and we worked together many times doing good work. So I'm always happy to get an opportunity to do anything with you guys. I'm Amy Blair. I'm the founder and CEO of Batik Boutique. We're an award-winning social enterprise. With B Corp status, which is awesome, a global recognition here in Malaysia. And we work with artisans all across the country, about over 400 now, that make hand-dyed, authentic batik products, fashion, gifts, accessories for both retail and corporate industries. And this business was just spurred out of a friendship that I had with a local woman. I'm originally from Texas, and I've been in Malaysia just last week as of 16 years. Got 3 kids all born here, and this is our life. And we're working to empower different community groups to have skills training and economic opportunity, and trying to educate people on what is batik.
16 years. I sorry, I
Yeah,
gasped
you
a
got
bit.
to look at the 16-year part. I know, because that's like half my life already. So.
Woo, damn. I mean, do you feel more Malaysian now than being Texan, or a bit of both?
Yeah, I think when you've lived this long somewhere, it's a mix. Like you love places and people and parts from both. It's just an interesting life. I never planned it, but I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and I love Malaysia.
And so do we. We all love Malaysia, especially the food and the people. We're all nice. And again, thanks so much, Amy, for the introduction. But at the same time, I think we also like to figure out and understand the connection that the three of you has. I mean, did you
Oh,
meet
yeah.
Atilia first, or did you met
No,
Renuka?
sorry, my hair's like crazy. This is like a girl problem here. Do you see some? Yeah. Anyways,
Don't move
keeping it
it.
real. Yeah, I know you don't have that problem, Zikri, but um, so I met Renu first from a coaching program that we were part of, and that led into part of the first cohort that they founded with another group of awesome Malaysians called Scale Up Malaysia. And I was part of the first cohort and first round of investees of that company. So Renu and Co have been very good friends of mine, very good supporters, very good business coaches, and actually are investors in Batik Batique. And Atilia and I met in the pandemic when everybody was going live with all the things. And I was just brave enough one day I followed her and felt like, wow, this girl is cool. She's unique. She's different. I want to know her. And my internet stalking kicked in. And I just reached out one day, I think it was kind of like, can we be friends? And so we became friends. And we did it. I wanted to have her. I was like, can we just send you a shirt? And honestly, we had never really like done that whole like influencer thing.
Of course.
And it was new to us, but she gave us a lot of confidence and she said yes. Like we just asked and she was so kind. And did we ever get lucky with her? We've done multiple collections with Atilia. She's one of our brand ambassadors. She's awesome. Like they're both, these women are like so smart and so kind and so good, and such good advocates for just good things in life and in Malaysia. And we're all really different, but we all like merge together. And I'm very blessed to be in both of their lives. And I'm so honored to like be here with them to share.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Glad to hear that. I thought Atilia knew you first, based on I guess for what I know, but I don't know enough now that I'm learning. I'm gonna go to Atilia because for those who did not know, we had the show last 2 years ago where we discussed mainly about Batik Boutique itself and how it's going through recovering from enduring the lockdown. But now that's over, recession is pretty much almost over, which is mixed opinions. But on Atilia, for you being as someone who's a fashion enthusiast, someone who has, I would say, quite a following, is your kind of fans, your crowd, are they really also the same? Are they into batik alone? And most importantly, are they aware of how precious that batik itself is engrinded in our I would say culture across this region?
Well, looking at the followers that I have, I've got a cross followers of both my singing career, my acting career, and also my yoga world. What I can do to actually help educate is just to post a lot of things that I learned throughout the way, especially from Amy. Um, and they seem to be very interested in a lot of things that I say. So I use that as a very important platform for me to market almost everything, not just batik, not just the fashion, but a lot of other things. So I probably am very lucky that way because my followers are not the kind that will, we have a lot of keyboard warriors and a lot of negative people online. So I'm very lucky to have a lot of positive followers on my platform, and whatever I say, whatever I do, whatever I post seem to be of interest to them, and they will ask me questions, and that's how I get to know them, and I make each and every one of them friends. I take the time, maybe because I don't have kids, I take the time to answer all my DMs. I believe you have DM me once also, Zikri, and I reposted
Oh yes,
like in 2019, if I'm not
yes,
wrong. So I
yes.
take my questions, my opinions, my DMs very, very seriously. So I think that has created somewhat of a believability in terms of what I say and yeah, what I sell sometimes, and the information that I want to get across. So it's not just for batik per se. Yeah, it's for a lot of things. I mean, that's how I got to know Amy. I think it's the organic things that I do, and she sort of like could relate to that, and we became friends right away. And along the way, I learned a lot of things from her. And one of the things that she taught me is to follow through. I'm a girl who's got a lot of things in my head planned, but I don't sometimes follow through. So when this collaboration happened, she made it happen for me because I told her what I wanted to do with my first collection with Batik Boutique, and she made it happen. So everything happened sort of like organically, with Amy and I and the followers and myself. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. I mean, I guess it's something. Okay. Yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes.
it's gotta be entertaining a little bit, you know.
I know, I know. This is not meant to be static, you know. Please, you know, feel free to express yourself, but within the legality of this other country where within the show.
That's like I just mean it like this, like.
Yes, like this is as
Okay, give me the Asian
as
version.
many.
Now it's this, guys. This is a new one. It's this.
Oh gosh.
I know. So
What's
your
that?
cheek is
It's like you're
supposed
on
to
a
be the
hip.
other half. Your cheek is supposed to be the other half of the heart. So I
Yes,
just
yes.
learned that 2 days ago. So there you go.
But yeah, let's back to our conversation. With all the love that we have for art, for preserving tradition, I think the past few years, I think a lot of people I've started seeing my friends starting to model for Batik Boutique, Ganesh, Deborah, all these guys. You know, I mean, and I think the way that they're marketing it is quite interesting because you know it attracts people of my generation to kind of not just wanting to learn more about a product like from Batik Boutique, but wanting to know is there a reason behind why would they, you know, do the advertisement themselves. And speaking of advertisements, you know, like just like right before we came on, you know, I haven't gone into deeply about the problems that you face, of course, that and we'll definitely get to that. But I think what what's happening around the world at the moment, I know that we're trying to focus on the humanitarianism, but in the age of information, or I would say transformation age, we have a new problem, which is disinformation that's being spread like wildfire. I think people are believing on perceptions of what society is trying to say. This is the trend, just buy it. Or look, I got the coolest whatever, you know. And I think all of us are very impulsive. Unfortunately, I'm one of them too. We were fed with this new smartphone, and then we kind of got into it, and it's not our fault, right? But and I just want to know more deeper from your side, Amy, and maybe also Renu, being an investor, you could also share a bit, because if you want to buy authenticity, you know, authentic, like you know that this is not real, right? I had to find out today. How is that applied in your industry? You know, we have fashion waste and whatnot, but I think there's more than just a wastage. There's more about like the I would say I wouldn't want to say deception because it might hit someone's nerve, not in this room, but someone else was with that intent to do that. But I just like to hear your thoughts. You know, being in this space for quite some time and having someone like Renu from Scale Up to back you up. Your take on that?
Yeah, I think in any business, and this is where Renu can help, she's helped me a lot with this, is you need to find like what is your unique selling point? Where's a gap in the market, obviously, but what do you bring to the table that other brands and products are not doing? So that matched really easily for us because, again, I started this company more as a project. It was not really meant to be a thing, but it's now meant to be a thing for sure. And so I didn't actually know what batik really was. I didn't know, the full ins and outs of everything I know now. I didn't know things about social enterprise exactly, so all of this has been a very big learning journey for myself. And I think because I've been on this journey to learn, when you learn something new and you get excited to share with someone else, right?
Yeah.
For me, that's what batik has been because I know the names of people behind it. I know the villages they live in. I know their children and their families. I know the women who work in our sewing center. I know the refugees that our company supports. I know the children who go to school now because of our business. And so I'm very passionate to want to share that. And it's a very tangible way that a consumer can support that is that you also get something back. You get a product, right? So I'm very driven by that. And so in the batik industry, let me just break it down real quick. So batik this is the highlight that you need to know. Batik is a process of a type of textile dyeing method. So batik actually requires wax. It's a heated wax resist method. So if something is a motif that looks batik, that doesn't make it batik. Every artist and every person who does any kind of handicraft or kraftangan here who does it will very quickly tell you the textile is only batik if it's using the wax resist. So that's with a chanting or a block, like the pin or the block, but it must use a wax resist. So another shibori, tie-dye, that's not batik. They're called that. Screen printing, machine printing with the batik motif, that's not batik. So there is a real lack of understanding, both in terms of consumers in Malaysia for what is batik, also price sensitivity. I understand that's very real for some, consumers, but also as other brands, like a lot of brands have popped up in the last few years, which I'm always like, I don't mind competition, and I don't mind, like, it's a good thing for an industry. It makes us keep going and growing and, developing. But
Right.
when it's like apples to oranges almost, So when another brand, it doesn't matter what's the brand, would sell their product to call it batik, sell it same price or less or more, it doesn't matter. But does it in certain colorways that's not actually possible to do in batik, or sells it at a price point that, in all honesty, is not possible to sell if someone painted it. It's not fair to sell it that way. It doesn't really help the whole industry of batik. It doesn't help the heritage in Malaysia. It doesn't help the cultural preservation. It doesn't help it to keep going and thriving. It doesn't support anyone in the village. It doesn't make young people have an opportunity to have a job or a future. It just is the same as if we go to every other big store out there and buy printed apparel, which we do all the time. So I'm not opposed to doing it. I'm opposed to the lack of transparency and possibly even understanding of what is batik. And I think anyone running a brand has a real, whatever you sell, you can sell food, you can sell batik, you can sell, it doesn't matter, computers, whatever. I think anybody running a brand is required to have integrity and is required to be authentic with what they're doing. And I think that should be required. And that's just my ethics of life. So I would prefer that people would call something batik inspired, or it was a batik motif, like there's ways to do it. I'm not opposed to putting batik motifs on a different medium to print or do whatever with it. Just don't call it that. And don't say that you're supporting anything, because actually you're running a fashion brand like any other fashion brand here that's making money for whoever founded it and their people, which is not a problem to do that. I'm not opposed. I'm not like a purist, you get it? But I'm authentic and I have integrity in what we do, because what we do is actually got people's lives and faces and a cultural heritage behind it. And it's very important for the country of Malaysia to keep it going. And so we're trying to scale that, and we help with artists and capacity. We've 10x, producers' supply chain since they've worked with us. We've, funded entire villages of people now have jobs because of Batik Batique. So that's a real story that brings it, that's authentic. And so I'm proud of that. And it's hard. It's harder to do it the way we're doing it than doing it the other way. So I think sometimes as an entrepreneur, I get frustrated because I feel like sometimes it's you took the easy way out by doing this. You took the cheap way. You took the fast way. But there's always going to be that in indie industry. It's not just in batik. But I think there just needs to be a real understanding, both from Malaysians and consumers, but also from any brand who's making something. Like, just try to be true to, true to what you're actually doing, so that you're not accidentally even falsely advertising that, if that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. I was just gonna say, hold on your thought, because I would like to show a video. I think it's a testimony of what you stand for, and I hope after the video is shown, perhaps give a quick walkthrough on how who this beneficiary is, how are they being part of the entire supply team of hand making the batik boutique, the batik fabric and so on. So let me just play the video 1 second. And
Hai, selamat sejahtera. Nama saya Hafiza binti Abdul Razak. Boleh panggil saya Fiza. Okay, saya tinggal di Bukit Buntong, Rawang, Selangor. Saya jawatan di Batik Batique ni sebagai cutting dan pembantu sambilan seamstress. Dengan Batik Batique, saya kurang berkeyakinan dalam merancang dan mengatur production. Jadi selepas bekerja di sini, saya diberi peluang untuk menjadi seorang ketua yang lebih berkeyakinan. Saya gembira apabila rakan.
It was just a brief video of, I guess, one of your colleagues who's showing the impact that they're doing, that they've been receiving. Could you walk through that with us on on the, you've managed to keep it like this versus going full on, I guess, capitalism, if you know what I mean. I don't know how
Yeah.
to say it,
So
but I'm sorry, Renu. I know you're an investor, but I'm just saying out loud, So just seeing the benefits, because I think as a consumer like me, I would be, I would have, I'll be very happy to see that because number one, they're my people. Number two, you're providing jobs. Number three, you're seeing the impact. Number four, there's income. Number five, you're providing jobs, and I could list and go on, go on. So how are you able to maintain this authenticity along with able to convince someone like Renu to keep pushing you to follow this and not deviate yourself? This is what I'm trying to get.
yeah. So that's
I
Fiza.
actually want to jump in there.
Yeah, you
right?
go, Ren.
Go ahead.
because I don't have to say anything of that sort to Amy. That whole story about how passionately she feels about batik, and she only learned about it after coming to Malaysia. The fact that she wants to help us in Malaysia preserve our heritage, and she understands more about it than anyone else that I know. That is the reason why we invested in her. And as far as authenticity and integrity and what she stands for, and the people that she knows, she takes the trouble to know every single one of them and their stories. She took the trouble to learn Malay so that she could talk to them and understand them and make them feel comfortable with her. I think that is more of a reason why we invested in Amy and Batik Boutique, and not necessarily, what the business is about.
Okay, so you're looking more into the person themselves. I mean, this is like your formula, and I think a follow-up question to that, since we're on it, is basically, for other SEs that are thriving to be like Batik Boutique, or who would like to level themselves, what should they be thinking about if they're looking to raise with you, and what kind of benchmark or commitment that you like to see, or is there a formula to sort of get across to you and to get invested like business like Batik Boutique?
So I think that I don't necessarily like labels like social enterprise or non-social enterprise or profit generating. I think all businesses are investable by the right type of investor, and it's not really for me to look for some of these investable companies, so to speak. It's actually very important for all companies, whether social enterprise or not, who are looking to raise funds from a third party, to know who they want who they want on board as an investor. So it could be that perhaps the label of social enterprises may not actually be the type of companies that investors like venture capital look at. But that's not necessarily true either, because you have a whole load of different investors. So I think it's important to know your investor, do your research, look at what they feel strongly about. And most of the time, I feel that with social enterprises, they start with heart, and that's what they start with. But what many of them need to realize is, in order to keep carrying on doing the great work that they do have to be profitable and revenue generating and scalable, because otherwise whatever they started doing is not going to be able to continue, and they're not going to be able to grow that impact along with them. So as much as maybe for some social enterprises, they may not like the fact that we talk about profit or revenue generation or cash flow and things like that, but they are important, not just to an investor, they're important to any business. Because if you can't survive till tomorrow, what's going to happen to all of the beneficiaries that you have nurtured and worked with? You're going to let them down. And that's the kind of thing that I think everyone has to have at the back of mind. I'm not saying that social enterprises don't have that. I think sometimes all entrepreneurs get so caught up in their day-to-day business that they actually need someone from the outside knocking on their door, like I do with Amy all the time, and saying, "Hey, what's happening with the revenue? Why is it dropped?" right? And what are you doing? And and Amy and I,
I just
constant,
had a knock yesterday.
yes, these constant conversations about, Amy, I know you love the designs, but come on now, let's sell them.
I was gonna jump in and share. There's some comments already coming in. Like we have a comment from Sulaiman Al Hudayb, who actually is saying real batik should be promoted, global targeting as it is a cultural heritage. Now there are common, there's common denomination between Malaysia, parts of Indonesia, and whatnot. I think already it is regionally everyone knows what a batik is. But I'm just gonna ask Atilia, for your perspective, um, how what is the appetite for people now for with batik in general? Because um, I'm seeing a lot of, this is just my personal opinion, but I see a lot of batiks being infused in many things, from your wallet to your bags, and yeah, and some people don't find it ethically, I guess, not right to use batik for such functionalities. And I know art has its own way of expression, on so is there a limit to this, or
Not at
and
all.
is
I
this
think extension is limitless when it comes to batik. The more you do with batik, I think the more people will learn and understand how this is our heritage, how important it is to always make it our heritage. Because like what Amy said just now about different brands using just the print saying that it's batik, not a lot of people understand or know the difference. I'm one of them. You know. And a lot of people are like me. So I think the more we use batik and the more batik is seen everywhere, it will create a lot of conversation, and from there we can educate and share and you know um, tell people what is really going on because we claim this as our heritage. I see a lot of people talking about Indonesian batik, Malaysian batik, and we always sort of like, I love
yeah,
this healthy conversations that we always try to fight for. This is Malaysian batik, this is Indonesian batik, and then at the same time we don't realize what we are actually fighting for. It's not really batik. Things like that
right,
will slam something in our face and we'll just go like, oh man, I didn't know that. So I think the more, to answer your question, the more we expose batik to everything. I mean, I'm very happy to have batik on my yoga mat. When I
yeah,
Yeah, I have a few one collection of yoga mat with Batik Boutique of a few colors and a few designs, and they did really really well amongst the yogis here in Malaysia and also in Singapore. And I believe we also had orders from UK, and it did really really well. And from there, I don't only use batik for my for the weddings that I go for. I use batik everywhere. This is me at home, and I've got it on my headbands, um,
oh,
my purses, and everywhere. And I love bringing them everywhere I go because I meet a lot of people every day on a daily basis, and the conversations that we make about batik has been really interesting. And I love the fact that I can actually share knowledge that I know. And sometimes I feel like, oh my god, a lot of people don't know a lot of things about batik.
of course.
So yeah.
I'm guilty. I was one of them right before the show. So thank you, Amy, for
But
educating
this
me.
is where I always appreciate friends and just, making connection because like everybody here on this call, I consider a friend of mine, and then you all have different platforms. Some have money to them, some have followers to them, but you have influence, right? And
Yeah,
so I think this is how anything goes is like, okay, we all are going to be on social media. We're all going to be here like existing. So can you use your platform to do something good? Can you use your platform to create change? Can you use it to educate? Can you use it to inspire? Can you use it, So that's just like in the core of me with like things in life. And so I'm always appreciative because I've been pleasantly surprised with the amount of support that people will give even freely, and generously to something if they're just asked to get involved. So Yeah, I think it's great. Everybody, you've got influence somewhere in your life, so use it for good for something. It's kind of my message.
And speaking about platform, there's already 150 ringgit donated as of now.
Nice.
Yeah. So for those who are watching and would like to donate, to the cause, feel free to. There's a donation button. I don't know where my hand is actually on the screen, but it's somewhere down here. There's a button where you can just donate. All donation proceeds to for the World Humanitarian theme of Batik Batique. So there you go. And I think I was gonna say yes. There's a few comments coming in discussing about real and fake batik, and I think you've touched a really strong point here, Amy, that there isn't enough awareness around this. And you can sample me as part of that statistic. So as you mentioned earlier, also Atilia, that that batik should be fully functional. There should be no limit. So my question to that would be: would that material still be batik, or would it still be fabricated of batik being used everywhere, or whatever items you want to use? And my second question is, what do you guys roughly do a lot of campaigns to create awareness for real and fake batik? But it's just because it seems like a serious thing.
I mean, I wish I had a bigger marketing budget to just spend on. I would literally spend it on just running. Like, this is real. This is not. Like,
we've got.
We do have, because it is Merdeka and Malaysia Day coming up. It's always a great opportunity for us. That's not so festive. Like, it's not one race's holiday or ethnic group, or religion or something. It's like, this is Malaysia. So I love like this time of year, honestly. There's no hype in it, there's no expectation, but it's for us as a brand, it's an awesome opportunity to just show ourselves, to show the people, to show the heritage, the artwork. So we've got campaigns coming up, and some of those include, don't worry, Atilia, we'll be hitting you up for this one. It's just getting the ambassadors we work with who have bigger voices than us to share about, like, this is real, this is not. You want to support, so buy real batik, kind of stuff. So that's in our works for some of the stuff in August, September. A bit more than normal, but we do regularly post and we put them in EDMs. We do run some ads literally for just brand awareness, like about like what it is and what it does. And yet it's really important for us to have the designs be good, because I never want to have, as a business, I don't want to pity purchase, and nor do our artisans. They actually want to create things that people appreciate and want to buy. So it's always that balance. So we do run ads, and we do share in our socials, and we do but our next kind of season is going to be getting other people who have it multiplies when everybody shares different things. Can I just, this is real quick, a quick one on how do you know batik is real or not?
Go for it.
So it's a process. It uses wax resist, and it requires layering. So it's like, you do one color of a dye of the background, and then you have to block or stamp or, with the wax, or draw a design. And then you paint on top. And then if you want more color, more design, you block on top, you paint on top. So your color, it's like watercolor. If colors mix, like, you have to go back to primary school here. You ready? You have to go like yellow and blue make green.
Red.
Green. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, there. I did that one for you, Zikri. That was for you. You missed my.
Sorry.
So when you put a yellow color first, and then do the blocking with the wax, it dries. It's like melt. If you ever stuck your finger in a candle and it dries on your finger, we've all done that. The whole thing, all the fingers. And it's like that on fabric. And so it resists the dye to go through it with the part that dries as wax. So when you do, let's say yellow, and then you stamp on top of it with the wax, and then you put green, yellow and blue make green. Right. Yeah. So you put blue on top of it. Then, because that blue is going to mix with the yellow on the fabric, it's going to make a green. So in batik, you need to layer the most traditional. There's different styles and ways you can do it. There's different methods, but the most simple way is the traditional way is you're layering color and blocking with wax blocks in terms of light to dark. So often that's why you'll see the background color, or the most bold part of a batik Malaysian shirt especially, is often going to be a darker color. So when you've got white backgrounds or light, there's another method it can do. It's really complicated, and not all the artisans do it. So when you see it's and the colors mix, and so there's only certain color mixes you can do, because you can't help blue and yellow from making green. That's just how life goes. So, so some of it is the complexity as well. So like when I look at your shirt, it's a beautiful print, but it's taken from motifs that old artisans in history had in batik, and it's made into a digital or a screen print, which is a different type of printing in textiles. So the colorings that you're wearing, for example, it's pretty impossible to do that in actual tradition, in real batik method. That's how I can easily tell when it has so many colors, intricate, and you don't see a layering effect.
Yeah.
The second is and this is the easiest way, if that's too confusing, because batik is on 100% fiber, which is also what some of the costing is about. You have to use 100% cotton, 100% silk, 100%. So when we say it's silk, it's literally silk. Like it's not polyester anything, right? So that's also why the price is what it is, because the raw material is a certain cost already. So you need natural, like 100% fibers, natural fibers for the process to work. That means when it goes through, when you block and dye, basically the front and the back is the same. So if you were to look inside your shirt, you know, when you buy a shirt from a big store, whatever brand, department store, yeah. Show us the inside of your shirt, Zikri. Yeah. You see that?
See, I'm showing mine.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So, okay. Renu's wearing a Batik Batique shirt. Atilia's wearing a Batik Batique shirt. You can't tell the front and the back. Look at your shirt. That's a digital print because it doesn't go through all the way, because the process of batik with waxing, it literally goes through the fibers. So the front and back is often like barely a difference to tell. So really we could sew it either way. It works.
Crazy.
That's probably the easiest way. That's the easiest way. I can tell with the motifs and the coloring, but that's a little more advanced, you know, but honestly, just turn it over. If it looks a bit faded or white or something on the other side, it's not authentic batik. That's the easiest way.
Yeah, it's definitely
So
not
go to your favorite shops and start turning their shirts over and see what you see.
I'm going to Batik Batique.
There you go. Actually, just go to Batik Batique and we'll show you how it works.
Okay, let's do that. Okay. I just wanted to also say that there's another comment here who's asking about your personal story, you know, and I think on the front we understand, you know, the business side, but from on the back, you know, from the behind the scenes, you know, what other problems are being solved along the way, and I'm sure there's a personal story that comes with it that kind of touch your heart, to show some examples of how you've profounded and left an impact in the batik artistry scene. Because I remember during the pandemic, we were helping you raising a few of the projects, and one of them was about this batik artistry who were running out of income, and they need survival and whatnot. So, and I'm not sure if maybe Atilia was also involved in that one, just as an ambassador, right? So perhaps you could walk us through that as well, because you know these stories, you know, they should not be forgotten. They should be taught and learned and applied to up and coming entrepreneur or consumer or any individual who would like to get a bit of inspiration from this conversation. So are you able to walk through that moment, Amy, Atilia?
Yeah, sure. So my general stories, I'm more touched probably as a mother. I'm a mother of 3, and you know, my kids are born in Malaysia and born and raised here. And so I probably generally am naturally drawn to the moms and the women because I understand. I grew up from a low income background, so I can identify with some of their struggles, you know, as the women, the marginalized communities we work in. And that's something I understand a bit, you know, different dynamics, but I understand some of it. So I'm drawn to those. And there's multiple stories of women sending kids to school, buying their own refrigerators, buying their own cars, like things. They all are required to open a bank account, which most of them never have had in their life. So we teach financial literacy. I mean, all this stuff. So that's my general ones, but I'm going to give you a man story today because this is more of a business related one. So we work with this guy, Adnan, in Kelantan, and he's 3rd generation batik artist, and he's cool. And he was one of the first artists that kind of took a risk on me, this foreigner. Like, you know, they didn't really trust, like, who are you and what are you going to do and what do you want from us? And I was like, I just want to help you. And they're like, huh? Like, you know, so, and then he also is one of the first ones that was open to customizing our own blocks and designs and things, you know, and he wanted to grow his business and really carry this on, like, you know, more than just his generation. But he had issues because in Kelantan he had flooding a couple months of the year. So it really shut his production down and on. So for several years, the relationship was growing and we were, you know, increasing capacity. There was one order we had for 100 scarves. And it was like, at the time for us, it was our early days. It was massive. Like we couldn't even comprehend how to do it in the timing that they needed. But Azan and I like literally sat down and I helped him work out a production schedule. And I was like, you can do this. Like, you can. He's like, takut lah, Amy. Like, I tak pernah buat macam ni kan. And I was like,
Whoa, you just spoke Malay, mashallah.
try,
Sorry.
you know, like, if you don't know to try, like, I'll come and paint batik if we need to. I was like, but we're going to do this, you know. And he's like, okay. So amazing story. He finished early. I'm like, see, like, and I think for him, that was a turning point where like, oh, we can, right? And so a lot of people just need the confidence. I mean, yes, you have to know how, but it's like the confidence to think that someone else believes in them too, and that they can do it and to try. So then it's progressed. There's years later and all. And so he always had to shut his workshop down a couple months of the year. And it's really challenging in the East Coast in villages, right, when it rains. I mean, I've been out there and kids are like in the little boats, you know, paddling across the water, and no one has like a floor in their house anymore unless you're built up on the stilts. And so I just thought, how can we solve this? Because honestly, in the company, the Q4 for us is crazy. And so I need him, and he's one of my top producers. So I was like, I need him to produce, but like, he's also like, he can't stop the rain, you know? So I'm like, I'm just saying lots of prayers. And so anyways, we kind of talked practically for a while, and we realized that basically if we could just elevate his workshop a couple feet, like literally pour some concrete down, it's not fancy, and change the metal tin roof to a different one. Like, it's still metal. It's nothing glamorous when I tell you this, but so we went on this thing. We used some of our profit. We used some fundraising, and we were just like, we're going to do this. We got him involved. I got him to like take ownership, call the contractors, get the quotes, oversee it, let me know, you know, and then I'll do my side of this. Yeah. And so we were able to, with profit from our company and a few like donors, we were able to just basically do that. Like, it's not that complicated, you know. That's all he needed was he wants to work. He just didn't have the cash to put that much into it, right? So we were able to elevate his floor and like change the roof out. And so since then he works every flooding season now. He keeps going. We do different designs. We've learned from the weather, it affects batik, and also we change a bit, but he keeps going, which has helped him scale his business, keep people employed, but also helps provide what we need in some of our busiest times of the year. So it's win-win. And I don't know a lot of other businesses that would do that for someone that they don't own. You know, they don't own their business. They don't own their company. So, but that's just the typical stories. I mean, he still runs his own business and makes his own fabric and stuff as well. That's not my intention. It's to really support and help him. And his capacity has increased 10x. And any investor will tell you if you 10x something, that's a good thing. So if he went from 30 meters a week, he produces regularly for us 300 meters a week of hand dyed fabric. That's hardcore. That's a lot of textile by hand. And that's because he's able to scale and employ from all this. So I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of the work that our company is doing to 10x a handcraft. Like, that's the way you scale it.
No, most def. Thanks so much for sharing that. We're gonna take a quick 2-minute break. So what that means is it's commercial. So I've never done this before, but I'm told we have to do commercial. So I'll be right back in 2 minutes, guys. So here we go with our first commercial break and. Hey everyone, welcome back to It Matters with me. We have Amy Blair from Batik Boutique, Atilia Haron, our fashion enthusiast slash singer slash part-time actress, and also Renuka Sena, our partner from Scale Up Malaysia. Welcome back. There was not really a short commercial break, but basically highlighting all the amazing things that all of us are pretty much working on, doing, impacting, and so forth. While during this commercial break, I just want to remind you guys who are watching, who just started viewing us in this amazing session. There's a donation button. Feel free to donate if you can. There's a donation button somewhere. Gosh, somewhere here or here. I can never get this, but you get the idea. Find the donation button. Feel free to, if you like what you're seeing, if you want to contribute, and exactly hearing the story of what Amy was sharing about our Batik Artistry back in Kelantan with that amazing story, and you want to keep you supporting and whatnot on this Humanitarian Day, feel free to donate and share and let the world know that there is such thing as a fake and a real batik that's going around while we buy our purchases. Like me, I'm wearing one of them. So a lot of learning already, a lot of amazing things that we are and uncovering and unfolding. Most importantly is the fact that there's a reason why we invited not just Amy and Atilia, but also Renu. Renu being part of Scale Up Malaysia, a big supporter and investor for Batik Boutique. There's a question here for you actually, from a Dutch chap by the name of Eric van Elster, because all I know anything with a Van is a Dutch guy. So he's asking, what is it that
Eric.
draws you to impact investment as yourself? Not being, why are you not a regular VC? Why Batik Boutique and not a regular fashion brand where you can make your I guess your investment back faster? What was the challenge that you had to run with a social enterprise like Batik Boutique versus a regular fashion brand? Really good question.
There's a lot of questions there, but thank you, Eric. I'll try and make it quick. What draws me to impact is investment? So I have to say that I think my first impact investment was with Batik Boutique, and essentially the what drew me to it was Amy and her passion to actually support artisans and also B40 women. B40 are the bottom 40 women in Malaysia that, from an income perspective. And I think looking at the type of things that Amy did, she taught them how to sew, she taught them how to actually earn a keep, quality, um, open a savings account. So those are the reasons, I guess, that draw me to impact investment. But most of my investments are actually in technology. And I think if I was, investing my own money as an angel investor, I'd probably do a lot more impact investments. But because we are a hybrid accelerator micro VC, and we have funds that we are meant to invest on behalf of our limited partners, so we look at more companies that are scalable. And so technology companies are usually, the type of companies that we invest in. Um, why would a regular VC, I'm assuming that's the question, why would a regular VC not invest in a social enterprise or a fashion brand? So I wouldn't say, they wouldn't. It's what each venture capitals, what their mandate is. So there could well be venture capital out there that have been mandated to look at fashion brands, whether they be fast fashion or impact fashion. It doesn't really matter, but it depends what your mandate is, right? So we can't label venture capital or private equity or angel investors. It comes back down to mandates and who you're investing for. If you're investing for a third party, then you're responsible for their funds. Whereas when we invested in Amy, it was from a group of angel investors. So we were investing with for individuals as opposed to a venture capital. And so it was actually okay for us to invest in an impact brand, so to speak. Um, what challenges that we run into with social enterprises like Batik Boutique? I
Yeah.
think scalability is a big challenge. And it's not just for social enterprises, it's a big challenge for all entrepreneurs. But I think it's a little bit more of a challenge for social enterprises that work with artisans and have to handmade stuff, right? So it is a challenge because of the I suppose the integrity of the end product. and the authenticity of the behavior. Amy could well have decided that, I'm not going to go down this path. And I'm not saying she hasn't. There have been cases where essentially she's had to design batik and get it made in China, because that's what a client has asked her for, or they drive prices down so much that she can't do it with artisans. Because I think when Amy decides that she wants to provide an authentic product, and what she sells in her shop, she sells it at that price because she pays fair wage to the B40 women and to artisans. Whereas you're looking at a lot of batik inspired perhaps products that are out there, and Amy's done that as well. She's done a lot of batik inspired designs as gift sets, as tumblers. I mean, I have a whole bunch of stuff in my house with batik designs. But she's authentic about it. She says these are batik inspired designs. So I think Amy herself has had to adjust her own expectations about how much she can actually do from the perspective of real true batik, and then sell it at the price that is fair, and marry that or balance that with where she can continue to promote batik, but perhaps make more commercial decisions that are difficult. But the one thing I love about Amy is that even if she has to produce something in China, she ensures that and for that entire order, she actually finds a way. She will always find a way for an artisan or for a B40 woman to sew a label or to do something so that she can actually then pay them a fair wage. I'm going to make you cry, Anta. I can see that, Amy.
Resume
But
to
that's
you.
what I think is the greatest challenge for most social enterprises, trying to balance commercial need of having cash flow and remaining authentic.
I mean, how do I say this? I think a lot of people, I know a lot of people who are deviated easily just because they see bigger cash flow. And it's not that easy, and I can't imagine uh, the the resistance to follow through your integrity, to be sure that your pillars are not corrupted. And it's very easy when you see around you everybody's like having a good thing just because they went the easy way out, and it's very rare. That's why people, people like you, and people who runs Batik Boutique, in general, there's not many people like that much, if you ask
Yes,
me.
a true humanitarian, Amy is.
Yes, if you really ask me, because we run our platform. We've seen all spectrums from all around the world. I think the numbers are just getting less and less, and those who didn't make it, a lot of them who I know were pretty much wiped out because of because other people find a better way out to make themselves more present. And that is why this is so important. This is why we have this conversation near to the humanitarian day, because it goes back to how I started this conversation with disinformation, deception, showing the real perception, which is not really what you're supposed to be really doing, which is harmful for you. And then the work that we do as from a, whether you're an NGO or social enterprise or professor who's trying to, do things right, is always going to be distracted by something that's going to be dangling in front of you, that where you could say, you know what, just leave what you're doing, that is keeping people that you want to impact the most happy. There are ways for you to kind of look at other things that would pull you away, and make you mad cash flow, make you rich, or make you a lot of money. So I would say, from an ethical perspective, not to say I'm a moral police or not, I'm not, but I'm saying there is a real notion of greed. And I'm this is my opinion. You don't have to chime in anything. And that's why I don't know any other. Renu, for example, I don't know any other impact investor, because I don't want to say names. We don't need to. But I've been to many these networking events that hosts certain groups of people who are looking to impact investing, but there's no authenticity there. If you ask me these questions, sorry, I got a bit passionate over that one, but what I'm saying is, we want people to really understand that the species like you, Amy, and Renu, and also we're a big supporter from Atilia. There are not many, and I this is one of the reasons, this combination of wanting to kind of showcase to those who are watching, that real humans with real heart, with real hard work, with real integrity, they still exist. It's just that all on our social media feeds, they're not the real ones. They're just a bunch of what I call it noise. So
But Zikri, I just wanna chime in that I think I have the opposite view to that, and perhaps I don't know what your experiences are, and it seems to be
you can
quite
go ahead.
quite deep rooted.
Yeah, I
But
lost my phone here from that.
I have had many occasions to meet wonderful social enterprises who I wish I had my own funds that I could invest in, because then it would only be my decision. And I know a lot of people who feel that way. And so, the 100 or the 50 or the 200 that they do, wishing they had more to do it. That's one. The second thing is, I think, the number, I have been so pleasantly surprised, not just in Malaysia, but I visited Vietnam and Cambodia recently, and visited social enterprises there and see how they are growing their businesses. And I've been so pleasantly surprised at the support that is given to them, because human beings have heart. And I choose to continue to believe that as long as social enterprises are out there and they believe in what they do, and they continue to hold that passion, that they will find people who will support them and invest in them. And it's just a matter of looking.
Yeah, I could agree to that as well. And thanks for sharing, of course. I think ecosystem builders also plays a huge role. But at the same time, I am glad that there's a story of the both of you, because if it felt like it's a match made in heaven, because Renu talks a lot about Amy, and Amy talks highly of scale up. Surely something beautiful happened. Of course, not to leaving out Atilia, but back to Atilia. Actually, I had a question. Sorry, there's a question. There's a comment by somebody asking whether you have the choice to pick the specific batik patterns for Batik Boutique, or making batik. What was it? Oh, how do you select the batik patterns and designs for your products? Loving the collections, by the way.
Right. We have a chat group.
Oh, you guys are group.
And we talk about design.
So professional. You don't even know. Atilia, tell us that we worked on it for I don't know what, like 18 months. We had a calendar.
Yeah.
We had a copy.
We have everything. No, it's very, like I said in the start, very organic. But I love our process. The process has always been like, sometimes odd hours when I'm lying in bed, I'm just checking the messages from the group, talking about the designs, and then we'll choose out of 10, we'll choose 3, and it's a fun process, but we take it seriously. And after we choose, I put it on my platform, and I get my followers to vote, now that we have the voting function on Instagram stories. So we do the polling, and I talk to friends, I talk to my students. I teach like 3 to 5 classes a day, so I get to meet a lot of people. Teach corporate classes, so I get to meet different types of students. I teach at the studio, and I also do a lot of free classes at, for instance, KLCC Park every Saturday for the past 10 years. So I get to meet a lot of I get a lot of opinions from a lot of people. So that's basically how the process goes. And I think that is the most, that is the truest way to actually find out what people like. And
Absolutely.
I mean, we have to make all this stuff, not just order it. You need to understand. So like, we don't want to make it if you don't want to buy it. Like we need you to want it.
And Renu is very good with things like that. She'll be like, "Yeah, but can we sell it? Can we sell it? I know we love the batik designs, but
Tell Renu I don't just about design."
So can we get orders first before we things like that. So she's doing things really, really, not just.
I've rubbed off on her.
Yeah.
There's a follow-up question to that, Atilia. Someone's asking, do the B40 women come up as artists as well and contribute to the design process?
So There are some women. So
Oh,
we have sewing centers that there have women from B40, and then we have artisan families that would obviously have women. So the artisan families for sure they would. Men
okay.
often do the blocking and manual labor, and women do the painting. But in our sewing center, we've added an element. There were some women who like it's not like they were professional seamstresses before they worked here. Like they didn't even know like how to like put thread on a sewing machine. Like that's literally the level you would take. So
Okay.
um, yeah, so when there's those who want to keep learning and growing and all of that, so we love that. And so we did start producing some of our own, like the kimono Atilia is wearing, that's made by the women as well. So we started doing some different dye methods and they're learning as well. And these people don't have, it's not like they got a degree in this or from a family, like they just want to know. And if they want to learn, you can learn it. So yeah, some of our products are made by them as well.
And I also love the connection that Amy has made between, let's say, us, the ambassadors, with the ladies. I get to meet the designers, I get to meet the printers, I get to meet the people behind the designs and behind everything. So it's like a family. And I love that vibe about Batik Boutique. And at the beginning of the broadcast, Amy, you said that you love Malaysia, and I think Malaysians are very, very lucky to have you here. And I
Yes.
get a lot of questions. I get a lot of questions when I
You can
tell
do both, yeah.
people can do both.
Yeah,
More
I
love,
do both.
more love for you. So
Oh,
they put that picture of, they say, okay, so this is the person who runs Batik Boutique, and
okay.
she's Mat Saleh, but why? And they start
Mm.
asking me questions. Why don't Malaysians do it? And I ask them back, why? You tell me why.
You tell
And
me
I
why
think
you didn't do it.
you tell me why. Don't ask me why. And I think Amy knows more about batik than any one of us here, I think. And
For sure.
right, for sure. And we are very lucky to have you in Malaysia, and I want to always have that connection with you. And even though I can always, email a mat maker in China and get 100 done by tomorrow, I still want to go through this process with you, because I feel that this is very important for me, as a key opinion leader to do, so that it will be an example for other people, because this is very important. This is our heritage. It's not
Mm.
just
I agree.
yeah, it's just
I
not
A
something.
trend.
And
Yeah.
and not just that, it's also, I think, for investors like me, I think if I'm not the sort of person who goes down to the ground and can work with or have the patience that Amy has to teach and work with artisans and the seamstresses and all of that. So I'd like to think that I'm doing good via Amy by supporting her, and I think Atilia feels the same
You're
way.
all of you passed. You're all doing good. Good job. Good job.
Are you sure? I'm wearing a very fake batik already, so
You can
You'll
do
always
better.
be a background
He's
singer.
feeling really bad about it, Amy.
When
I'm
you
taking
change
it
your
in,
shirt,
y'all.
you'll do better. But you're doing good, but we'll make you better when you change your shirt.
I'm fine. I'll come to Charlotte. I'll get all the best batik on there.
We'll get you a headband.
Huh.
Hey, I like being involved. But I mean, I think we're running out of time already, so I'm just gonna try cover two things, and then hopefully we'll wrap it up and share, I guess, what's next. So, but before we do that, question number one: how do we join this group, Atilia? Because you talk with us as WhatsApp group, right? Anyone can join, or
No, this is
why so?
no. You just need to
Oh,
follow our Instagrams, Batik Boutique and
okay.
mine, and also Renuka. I think I just found you on IG.
Renuka
No,
is
it's not.
It's not
I
you.
am so not social media friendly.
Oh, scale up.
But yeah,
up.
just
Scale
follow
up.
just follow Scale Up.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we are always, especially always updating our progress on whatever needs to be updated on Instagram, so you can follow us there. There is no chat group. The chat group is for us to talk about the
Close.
design.
Okay, there was a
Yeah.
group. I got a bit excited, but okay, never mind. Are there any events upcoming for you ladies? Like any upcoming events where we all can join or look or learn or take part? We are literally promoting as much as we can with your online store as well. But if there's a physical event, I totally forgot we're not in lockdown anymore, because the last time I did this was during lockdown. So if
Sure.
there's any real event, would like to know where, when, why, how, who
Tell them about the workshop, Amy. I think a lot of people want to know
Okay,
about
there's workshop interest. So we've got 3 stores, 2 in KL, 1 in Johor. So if you go to Desaru, hit up the Westin Hotel. We have the gift shop there. Surprise. And so we've got at the Row and also in Sri Hartamas. At the Row is also where our office is. And in the office upstairs is a studio office. We teach batik workshops. So you can register on our website or message us in IG or whatever, and we'll get you hooked up. And they can be individual groups. We do corporate, we do birthday parties, we do all kind of things. And then you can actually come see our team and get to know them, as Atilia said as well. And you make your own product. So it's not just the painting and like, what do I do with this butterfly now that I take it home? I don't know. I got a lot of butterflies and turtles and flowers at my house. But you actually make a tumbler or a scarf or a notebook or something from it. So we changed it to be better, like, something you actually want, and you're the artist behind it. And you learn about us and batik and all of that. And you get a discount for shopping in the store. And then we always do a huge party at Christmas for holiday launch, which is usually November. So that'll be on. So stay tuned because I'll be having Atilia and Renu involved in that too. And so you can sign up for workshops, shop our stores, follow this. And we're launching a new yoga mat collection with Atilia. Not quite determined on the date yet, but it'll be September, October. We'll be launching a new collection with her. So definitely follow her IG. So I think we haven't even talked about this side of it Atilia yet, but we need to do some like actual yoga events and activities and invite people to come do that. So we need to stay tuned for that. I think that will be a fun thing to do together.
Is there a group chat for the yoga event or?
Yeah, between me and Atilia and my team.
He really wants to get on this group chat, ladies.
I mean, if you want to help promote and plan it, we'll give you a job and you can join our chat.
Hey, yo! I like jobs.
Well, every Saturday at 7:30 a.m. at KLCC Park.
Okay.
Just next to the playground, I run a free yoga session. So,
7:30 a.m.
you guys are interested, just come.
I say to myself, I always want to come to that, and I never come. I'm coming one day.
It has gone viral, Amy, and last
cool.
week we had 200 people coming in for the free yoga session. I was
love it.
This is amazing. So
Let me just say it's 7:30, and I love it that they came that early. That's all I'm saying.
Me too.
After that, we can have roti canai and pelita, so life will be balanced. All good.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, good. A lot of things happening, guys. From the workshop. I think I played the video earlier, didn't I? The video for the workshop during the show. Plus, new products coming in between Atilia and Amy from Batik Batique. So I think I would like to wrap it up nicely. So to wrap it up the way how I used to. It's not the same anymore because I would say everyone stay home, stay safe. That's not the point anymore.
Okay.
So now we're out and about, so feel free.
Party.
Go ahead, go out. Amy and Atilia has shared you where you could get involved, how you could get involved, whom you can get involved with. So for the yoga morning at 7:30 a.m. at KLCC Park, that's where you can find Atilia, Haron there, and sometimes Amy, and hopefully Renu.
On the way.
Not a chance.
I love your honesty, Renu.
Not a chance.
Maybe when I come with one of my yoga mats that we make with you, then I'll go.
One month.
And just sit like this on the yoga mat and watch.
So we have a few. There's someone commenting that they're happy to join, so now they know where to go for the workshop. Alvina's asking for the workshop. We've told you where the workshop
workshop's fun. Everyone should do the workshop.
Yeah. It's batikbatique.com. There's a tab for workshop. You can just pick a date and time or just message us on the Batik Batique on IG. We'll hook you up.
Yeah, we'll forward this as well to the people. I also want to thank the 2 person who donated so far in this show, which is Farid, $100, and Peter, who donated $50. So not bad, $150 in 1 hour. That's pretty good.
For some girls talking.
Hey.
Good job.
And I like to take this opportunity to also thank to those who participated in the commenting section: Mr. Sulaiman, Faizaline, Alvina, Eric van Elster. I guess you're commenting from the Netherlands. See, the ladies are giving all the hearts to you guys. Chris James, Ishama, and Nicole, thank you for joining and sending your love. I really, really hope that this show, this session with these three beautiful ladies, have incited you to do more good, to be more well informed, and to take things matter at hand because all the things that we do, they all matter. So, with that, I'd like to thank you, ladies. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you, Atilia. Thank you,
Thank you,
Renuka.
Zikri.
Love you
Thanks,
so
Atilia.
much. And I hope to see you at the yoga session, Atilia.
Zikri said he's coming.
Inshallah.
All right.
Okay.
You guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.